The afternoon in Portland was drenched in rain, the kind of day when the clouds hung low and the city moved in slow, lazy rhythms. Yet inside, you felt a restless energy, an uneasy stirring that refused to settle. You were in your mid-30s, quietly piecing your life back together after a breakup that still left its quiet scars. The house felt too silent whenever you were alone. Today, you had agreed to watch your 17-year-old nephew, Ethan. It was supposed to be simple, a short visit filled with casual conversation, movies and mugs of hot chocolate, but from the moment he stepped through the door, shaking off raindrops from his jacket, something felt different. Ethan had grown. Taller, older, and carrying a calm maturity in his eyes you hadn't noticed before. He looked at you not as the playful aunt he had once known, but as someone he genuinely cared about. That unspoken attention stirred something unexpected inside you. The living room was soft and inviting, the light reflecting gently against the rain-speckled windows. Outside, the storm drummed steadily, but inside, a quiet rhythm had begun. You settled into the easy motion of pouring cocoa and chatting, but beneath the surface, a weight lingered. Ethan's gaze seemed to pierce through the facade you'd been wearing for months. You realized he could see it, the fatigue that went deeper than sleepless nights, the quiet ache you had carried since the abrupt end of your last relationship. Questions lingered in your mind, spilling into your daily life. You had thrown yourself into work and family gatherings, always smiling, always dependable. But this afternoon, the effort to keep up appearances felt too heavy. The storm outside mirrored the one inside. And for the first time in a long while, you let yourself just breathe, feeling the stillness and fragility of being human. Ethan, quietly perceptive, noticed more than you expected. When he asked if you wanted to watch a movie or bake something together, your smile appeared, fragile but real. He didn't press. He just observed patiently, giving space while silently acknowledging what he sensed. With mugs warming your hands, you allowed your thoughts to drift. Memories you usually pushed aside surfaced, the woman you used to be, curious and full of plans, now feeling distant and almost foreign. Ethan didn't know the details, but his presence softened the emptiness you had carried. There was no rush, no judgment, just steady companionship. That gentle awareness gave you a sense of grounding you hadn't realized. You were missing as the light dimmed and the storm thickened. You began noticing small comforts you had overlooked, the rhythmic tapping of rain, the soft glow of the lamp, the feeling of not having to perform for anyone. You felt seen in a new way. He was more than a nephew now. He was someone who seemed to understand the unspoken parts of you. But then, an unexpected memory nudged its way forward. Your phone buzzed, flashing a name that tightened your chest. Daniel, the man you had loved and lost. You quickly turned the screen away, not wanting Ethan to notice. Yet he did, his gaze soft and understanding, silently acknowledging the depth of what you felt. The storm outside echoed the turmoil in your heart, stirring a mixture of sadness, fear, and hesitant hope. This ordinary day, meant for simple care and companionship, was slowly transforming into something pivotal. It was a day that would confront you with the hidden corners of your heart, reveal your fragility, and remind you that even quiet human connections could hold unexpected power. Ethan's presence had stirred something within her she hadn't anticipated. Daniel's sudden return cracked open a door she didn't even realize was closed. Outside, the rain had faded, leaving the streets of Portland shimmering in the evening light. Inside, Emily felt a delicate sense of hope. The day had stripped her bare, exposing her vulnerabilities, but it also revealed her resilience, her capacity for understanding, and perhaps the faint possibility of love anew. She understood the path ahead would be difficult and the choices heavy, but for the first time in months, she felt ready to meet them. That night did not deliver answers, only possibilities. Life, she realized, could still surprise her, and being truly seen by family, by love was a gift she had longed for without knowing it. Deep down, Emily sensed this was just the beginning of a journey that would test her heart, challenge her courage, and redefine what it meant to feel alive. The storm had ended, leaving Portland streets glossy and quiet. But inside Emily's home, the emotional storm was far from over. Daniel had lingered longer than she expected, filling the room with a presence that was both comforting and unsettling. Emily felt a jumble of emotions, anger at old wounds, longing for a love she had once trusted, and confusion at the reappearance of someone she thought was gone for good. She stepped aside to let him in, the warmth of her home contrasting sharply with the cool evening outside. But failing to ease the tightness in her chest, Daniel entered carefully, scanning her face for any hint of welcome or rejection. "Emily," he said softly, "I know I don't have the right to ask this, but please, just listen." His sincerity carried the same pull that had once drawn her to him. Emily hesitated, torn between shutting the door and letting him speak. She felt Ethan's gaze from the hallway, calm and unwavering. A quiet reminder that she wasn't alone. Daniel spoke of the months he had spent reflecting on his mistakes, nights haunted by regret, and the courage it had taken to stand before her now. Each word tugged at buried emotions, mixing the ache of old heartbreak with the fragile hope of second chances. He approached slowly, respecting her boundaries, and Emily noticed the subtle changes in him: humility, patience, genuine remorse. Ethan shifted slightly, offering a quiet, studying look, as if to say, "You can handle this." Emily drew a deep breath, feeling an unfamiliar blend of strength and vulnerability. Their conversation was heavy yet delicate, touching on love and loss, missteps and regrets, the kind of dialogue only possible when shared history runs deep. Emily realized how much she had missed being truly understood, someone who could hold her past and her pain without judgment. Daniel didn't demand forgiveness or plead for another chance. He simply offered his truth, leaving the choice to her. His honesty struck Emily profoundly. She thought of all the nights she had imagined this moment, all the longings she had tried to suppress. The room seemed to pause as they faced each other, suspended in a fragile tension that was neither hostile nor comfortable, but electric with possibility. Ethan stayed quietly in the background, giving her space, reminding her that love and trust existed beyond romantic ties. As the evening wore on, Daniel's apologies softened, acknowledging the hurt he had caused, hoping they could find a path forward, even if it was only understanding or closure. Emily listened, absorbing the weight of the moment, the sincerity in his voice, the vulnerability laid bare. Tears pricked her eyes, not from weakness, but from the release of months of suppressed emotion, longing, disappointment, hope, and a renewed awareness of what love had once meant to her. She reflected on the life she had built without him, the independence she had fought for. Yet his familiar presence awakened feelings she hadn't expected to confront. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to imagine possibilities, ones that didn't erase the past but acknowledged it, ones that offered hope without certainty. The night passed in hesitant words, quiet exchanges, and shared silences that spoke louder than anything aloud. Emily understood she didn't need all the answers immediately. Acknowledging feelings and facing the past honestly was enough. Daniel eventually left, promising space while expressing a hope to reconnect when she was ready. Emily watched him go, her mind alive with the weight of old love, the fragility of trust, and the curiosity of what might still be possible. Ethan approached her afterward, calm and grounded, offering comfort without judgment. He reminded her simply that her happiness mattered, that she had the right to choose her own path, and that seeing her truth clearly was the first step to moving forward. That night, as Emily lay in bed, she reflected on the day's emotional tumult. Vulnerability, she realized, could coexist with strength. Being truly seen mattered more than she had remembered. Though the road ahead would be uncertain, she felt empowered to face it with honesty, clarity, and courage. Love, forgiveness, and second chances demanded patience and reflection. But her life now held space for new beginnings. The next morning brought the city washed clean by rain, with streets gleaming in early light. Inside, a quiet anticipation lingered. Ethan prepared breakfast, his gentle smile acknowledging the storm she had weathered. She smiled back, comforted by his presence and the maturity he displayed, an anchor she hadn't realized she needed. Breakfast became a peaceful ritual, filled with soft conversation, laughter, and the ease of ordinary moments she had overlooked before. Later, they stepped outside together, inhaling crisp air as Portland came alive after the storm. Emily noticed the confidence and consideration in Ethan's movements, a reminder of the profound trust and bond they shared. She felt lightness in her step and a cautious optimism she hadn't dared to feel in months. She prepared to meet Daniel at a nearby cafe, feeling the weight of the past days but bolstered by Ethan's quiet encouragement. Walking through the city, she reflected on the storm, the confrontations, and the personal growth she had experienced. The cafe was warm and inviting, a gentle contrast to her inner turbulence. Daniel stood as she approached, offering a tentative smile that mirrored her mixture of hope and uncertainty. Their conversation unfolded slowly, spanning dreams deferred, lessons learned, regrets, and future aspirations. Emily noticed the subtle changes in him: patience, attentiveness, care cultivated during their time apart, and felt a cautious optimism she hadn't allowed herself before. By the time they left, the sun bathed the city in golden light, echoing the tentative hope blooming in her heart. Emily returned home grounded, aware of her emotions, and ready to embrace the uncertain future. Whether it included rekindled love, renewed family understanding, or simply the joy of living fully, Ethan's presence and support reminded her that she was never alone. She understood that courage, honesty, and connection were the keys to living deeply, loving openly, and trusting herself. As she looked out at the sunlit streets, Emily felt warmth and hope. The past chapter had closed, but a new one had begun, one where she could redefine her life on her own terms, guided by experience, trust, and a readiness to embrace all the emotions and connections that made life worth living.